The Galactic Safety Inspection Team had a simple job: evaluate Earth for potential colonization by other species. Standard procedure. They'd done this for 347 planets across the galaxy. Earth should have been routine. Inspector Kicksnall of the Valorian Confederacy stood at the entrance to what humans called a public park, his breathing apparatus already working overtime in Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere. "Explain again," he said to his human guide, a cheerful woman named Rebecca Torres. "What is the purpose of this location?" Rebecca said brightly, "Recreation. Exercise, fresh air. People bring their kids here on weekends." Kids. Kicksnall's translator gave the word special emphasis. "You bring your offspring to this place?" "Well, yeah. There's a playground over there. Very popular." The inspection team followed Rebecca along a path, and Kicksnall's suit sensors were already screaming warnings. Alert: atmospheric oxygen at dangerous levels, 21% alarta unfiltered solar radiation detected, LRT. Pathogenic bacteria count exceeding safe limits. Alert: gravity at 1 Zerjeet, mobility impairment likely. Alert: temperature fluctuation outside comfort parameters. Your sensors are malfunctioning. Rebecca noticed. "Do you need me to call a technician?" "No malfunction," Kicksnall said weakly. "Accurate readings. This entire planet is a Class 4 Deathworld." What now?" "Deathworld. The galactic classification for planets too dangerous for most sentient life." He checked his datapad. "High gravity. Extreme temperature ranges. Aggressive microbial life. Toxic atmospheric oxygen levels. Frequent seismic activity. Violent weather patterns. And that's before we factor in the fauna." "Oh, you mean the animals? The PRDRs?" Kicksnall corrected. "My preliminary scans show this planet contains thousands of apex predator species." "How does your species survive here?" Rebecca laughed. "We're pretty tough, I guess." "Oh, here's the playground." The inspection team stopped, stared, and collectively experienced what could only be described as existential horror. "What?" Kicksnall whispered, "and the name of all that is sane, is tight." Before them stood a structure of metal and wood, towering nearly 4 meters high. Human children, small, fragile offspring, were climbing it, hanging from it, jumping off it, screaming with what Rebecca assured them was joy. "It's a jungle gym." Rebecca explained. "Kids love it. That child is hanging by its manipulator limbs 3 meters above the ground." "Yeah, that's Tommy. He's 6. Really good at monkey bars?" "Mo quai bars!" Kicksnall's species didn't have a word for what he was feeling, but it was somewhere between terror and nausea. "You named this death apparatus after a primate?" "Well, yeah. You hang and swing like a monkey." Another inspector, a crystalline being named Shalar, pointed with a trembling appendage. That offspring just fell. They watched as a small human child tumbled off a platform, dropped nearly 2 meters, hit the ground with a thud that made the entire inspection team wince, and then got up, brushed off dirt, ran back to climb again. "IT void, IT fell." "Oh, that's just Marcus," Rebecca said. "He falls like 10 times a day. Kids are bouncy? Ooh, NCY." Kicksnall was frantically updating his report. Human offspring possess regenerative capabilities and impact resistance unknown in other species. "They don't regenerate," Rebecca corrected. They're kids. They're resilient." "Resilient?" Kicksnall repeated flatly. "Your offspring fall from lethal heights for Rakadanoan." "It's not lethal. Look, we put wood chips down." Rebecca gestured to the ground covering. "Safety measure." "Wooden fragments." As a safety measure, Kicksnall was struggling. "Against a 3-meter fall, well, sometimes we use rubber matting. Depends on the budget." Another human child, this one even smaller, was going down what Rebecca called a slide. A metal chute heated by Earth's sun to what Kicksnall's sensors registered as 48 degrees Celsius. "Tieshiriesot inogyo tokazdiarmel bors." "Yeah, in summer the slides get pretty hot. Kids learn to test them first or go down on their butts really fast. You teach your offspring to adapt to thermal hazards. Through trial and error." "Pretty much." Shalar was examining a device that rotated at high speed. "What is this circular platform?" "Oh, that's a merry-go-round. Kids sit on it and spin really fast." "Why?" "Because it's fun. They voluntarily subject themselves to centrifugal force. For enjoyment. You guys don't have playgrounds on your planets?" "We have SAF recreational facilities!" Kicksnall protested. "Padded environments. Medical supervision. Safety restraints." Not TI's madness!" A small human child approached the inspection team, no older than 4 Earth years. "Are you aliens?" she asked Rebecca. "Yes, sweetie. They're visiting from other planets." The child looked up at Kicksnall with large, curious eyes. "Do you want to play?" What? Come on!" The tiny human grabbed Kicksnall's manipulator appendage with shocking strength and pulled. "I'll show you the swings." Rebecca grinned as Kicksnall was dragged away by a creature that weighed maybe 15 kilograms but had the grip strength of a maintenance drone. The swings were worse. Humans had built suspended seats on chains, and children would use them to achieve heights and speeds that triggered every safety protocol in Kicksnall's suit. Tito fast pie, pesars, tiakal and ata medars, persacodine, iage now, suafada, restrace. She's really good at swinging, Rebecca agreed. That's my Emma. If she falls, she won't fall. She's been swinging since she was 3. THR years oldie. The small child who'd brought Kicksnall over climbed onto a push me. She demanded. I don't understand the request. Like this. Rebecca demonstrated, giving the child a gentle push. The swing moved forward. The child's leaps pumped, and soon she was soaring through the air, laughing maniacally. Kicksnall made a note. Human offspring appear to experience euphoria when simulating near-death experiences. Another inspector, a floating gas, being named Vortex, approached a tall structure. What is this tower? That's the big slide. For older kids, the slide was nearly 6 meters tall, approached by a ladder that was essentially a vertical climb with minimal handholds. As they watched, a human child, maybe 8 years old, climbed to the top, stood on a platform with no railings, and launched himself down the slide at what Kicksnall's sensors calculated was 40 kilometers per hour. The child hit the bottom, rolled, jumped up, and ran back to do it again. No, Vortex said simply. No, this is insanity. It's actually pretty tame, Rebecca said. You should see the adventure playgrounds in Europe. They have zip lines, rope swings over water, climbing walls. Climbing walls? Kicksnall repeated. You make your offspring scale vertical surfaces? Well, yeah, builds up her body strength, and if they fall, that's what the crash pads are for. Ats! Rebecca was starting to sense their distress. Okay, I get that this seems dangerous to you, but humans have been doing this for generations. It's how kids develop spatial awareness, risk assessment, physical coordination, confidence. Risk assessment? Shalar interrupted. You teach risk assessment by exposing offspring to actual risk. Well, yeah. Kicksnall sat down heavily on a bench. Let me understand. Human offspring during their development phase are routinely exposed to falls from height, thermal hazards, velocity-based activities, impact scenarios, and centrifugal forces, without significant safety restraints. And this is normal? Super normal? Rebecca confirmed. Every town has playgrounds. Some people have them in their yards. INTR residence, yes. Sure. Swing sets, trampolines, nabashi idas a TRM poleni. Rebecca pulled out her phone and showed them a video. Human children bouncing on an elastic surface, achieving heights of 3 to 4 meters, doing flips and spins in midair. The entire inspection team watched in silence. Finally, Vortex spoke. I would like to leave this planet now. Same, Shalar agreed. Kicksnall was still staring at the jungle gym, where a child was hanging upside down by its knees. How many offspring do you lose annually to playground accidents? Oh, we have some injuries. Broken bones, sprains, concussions sometimes. CUSOs. But actual deaths are really rare. Like, single digits per year out of millions of kids. Single, millions of offspring, using these death traps and only single-digit fatalities. Yeah, playgrounds are pretty safe, all things considered. Kicksnall stood up. His decision made. Mems Torres, I appreciate your hospitality, but I must inform you that Earth cannot be approved for multi-species colonization. Oh, that's too bad. Why not? Because this planet is fundamentally incompatible with sane, rational species that value offspring survival. He gestured to the playground. You raise your young in what we would classify as an extreme training environment for military shock troops. The fact that you consider this Raxia Radionel is perhaps the most terrifying thing I've encountered in 40 years of inspections. Rebecca looked around at the happy children playing, climbing, swinging, falling, getting back up and playing again. But they're just having fun. That, Kicksnall said, is exactly my point. Human offspring derive pleasure from activities that would traumatize most species adults. He began walking back to the landing site. We will file our report. Earth remains classified as a death world, unsuitable for colonization. Any species attempting to settle here does so at their own risk. Well, that's fine, Rebecca said. We like our planet. As the inspection team prepared to leave, the small child who'd grabbed Kicksnall earlier ran up. You didn't play with me. I apologize, small human, but your species' recreational activities exceed my tolerance for existential terror. Oh, okay. Bye-bye, she waved, then ran to a seesaw, a device that Kicksnall's sensors identified as a bilateral lever system with no velocity-limiting mechanisms. On the ship filing his report, Kicksnall added a final notee. Recommendation. Earth to remain quarantined from general colonization. Human offspring survival training programs suggest species-wide preparation for hostile environments. Suspect humans may be more dangerous than initial assessments indicated. They don't just survive on a death world, they thrive on it. And they start training their young before they can walk properly. Approach with extreme caution. 6 months later, the Galactic Council received Earth's application for membership. In the application, under planetary classification, humans had written Deathworld. Under notable achievements, they'd included rising children who think broken bones are a learning experience. The Council approved the application because any species that raised their offspring on death apparatus and called it fun was a species you wanted as an ally, not an enemy. Rebecca never found out about the inspection team's report. But if she had, she would have laughed and said, "Wait until they see our theme parks."